Hello and welcome to Sew with Christine. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut and sew these gorgeous jumpsuits using two different designs of fabric. I'll take you through the process of making these jumpsuits without a waistcoat. For this, I'm making use of two different Ankara designs. I have the red one here and the blue one. So you can choose to make use of Ankara if you want to, or you can experiment using other fabrics. So for each of these fabric, I've gone ahead to cut 60 inches for each of them. That is about 1 3/4 yards for each of these fabric. Now you're going to open your fabric this way. Next, bring the base to the top like so and merge them together. So I'm going to quickly measure this for you to see that I have this at 60 inches. Now this 60 inches would now serve as the length of the dress. Next, I'm going to pull one of these backward a little so that I can get 2.75 inches for this. How I got 2.75 inches, I minus the quarter hip measurement from the half time measurement. Now, the shorter one is going to be the front, while the longer part is going to serve as the back. So we are going to be cutting the front and the back for one part of the pants together. Next, I'm going to rule my starting line of ½ inch at the top of this fabric. Next, you're going to take the measurements from your shoulder to where you want the dress to start. So for this, from the shoulder, I want this dress to start at 7 inches. I'll place 7 inches onto the starting line, then I'm going to mark the chest line. To get a chest line, you're going to divide your bust circumference by 6 and add 2 inches to that. I'm going to mark 8.5 inches here for the chest line. Next, I'm going to mark the waistline of 17 inches. After that, I'll go ahead now and draw a straight line on these marked areas. I will label this CL, which is chest line, and here W, which is waistline. Now, from the waistline, we are going to mark the hip line. So from the waistline, you're going to measure 9 inches to get the hip line. After that, we are going to get the crotch depth line. To get your crotch depth line, you're going to divide your hip by 4. And since this is a jumpsuit, we are going to add 3 inches to the value we got. So the hip measurement for this is 41 inches divided by 4, that is 10.25 inches. Then I'll add 3 inches to that, that gives 13.25 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 13.5 inches here. Afterwards, we are going to get the length of this dress. Now from the waist to the hem, I'm going to take the length of this, and I have this at 46 inches. I took this length with heels inclusive. If you do not want to use heels, then just go with your normal length. I'll add 1.5 inches for the hem allowance and connect this way. I'll come to the hip line and draw a straight line. After that, I'm going to draw a straight line across the crotch depth. So here, I'm going to label this H, which means hip, and here I'm going to label this TH, which means thigh. So for the thigh extension, I'm going to write down the thigh measurement, which is 26 inches. Divide that by 2, that gives 13 inches. While the quarter hip is 10.25 inches. When making pants or jumpsuits, you're going to divide the hip measurement by 4 and the thigh measurement by 2. So what you're just going to do, you are going to minus 10.25 from 13 inches. So this will serve as the thigh extension. And the result here is 2.75. On this part, which is the front, I'll also mark 2.75 inches. I'll mark this upward and I would connect using a straight line. Now, all our measurements will be taken from this straight line. So this part is going to serve as the center front. So from the line, I'm going to mark quarter hip measurement, which is 10.25 inches. Then I'm going to add 2 inches for ease and for sewing allowance. So 1 inch is going to be for the seam allowance and the other 1 inch will serve as the ease allowance. Now, if you don't want your ease allowance to be too big, you can reduce it to ½ inch. I'll come to the hip and I'll also mark the quarter hip measurements with the allowance. And at the waist area, I'm going to mark the quarter waist measurements with the same allowance. On the chest line here, I'm going to mark the quarter bust measurements and add seam allowance. This time around, I'm not going to add ease so that that part would be well fitted. So I'll go ahead now and connect this way down to the thigh region. Coming to this side, I'm going to extend this 2.75 inches down to the hem. Now at the hem area, I'll go inward now by the quarter hip measurements. I'll add the allowances there. Then I'll also add extra to this side. Now you can keep yours straight if you want to. I just wanted to add extra allowance to the side to make the hem flare out a little. I'm going to add 4 inches now to this area. Like I said, you can make yours straight or you can add about 2 inches if you want to. And if you want it bigger, then you can go for 4 inches. Next, I'm going to connect from the thigh region down to the hemline like an A-line. Once I'm done with that, I'll come to the center front here and draw a curve this way. Now from the center front line, I'm going to measure inward the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. That is the half of that measurement, which is also known as the bust span. I'll mark that measurement there and I'm going to add 1 inch to that. Now from this 1 inch, I'm just going to connect this way down to the chest line. So this is going to serve as the armhole. Next, I'm going to add ½ inch for the seam allowance at the top area. At the waist area here, I'm going to come outward by 1 inch and I will connect downward and upward. This is going to help us replace the 1 inch that I'm going to remove for the zipper contour when I get to the center back. So kindly note that this area that I've just drawn is for the back piece alone. So to calculate the length of your strap, you're just going to write down what you removed for the front part, and we removed 7 inches from the shoulder to where the dress is going to start, and the back I'm going to use up 10.5 inches by the time I'm done cutting the back neckline. So whatever measurements you are going to remove for the front and the back, you're just going to add them up and that is going to serve as the length of your strap. Now I would cut this out so that we can separate the front from the back. Now coming to this side guys, we are going to cut this 1 inch extension that we have here at the waist area. So by the time we are done cutting this, I'm going to separate the front from the back and cut out the front part alone. After cutting, I'm going to lift up the front piece and cut along this area. Next, I'm going to extend these lines to the back piece this way. After that, I'm going to draw the center line onto this back. So this side will be the center back, the same way we have the center front here. So you can see what the back piece looks like. Now I want to remove the 1 inch that I talked about earlier, the one we added to the other side. So this is to help prevent zipper bulge. So by the time you wear the dress, it will sit nice and perfect on your body. After marking this 1 inch, I'll go ahead and add seam allowance of ½ inch. After marking this allowance, I'm just going to connect this way. This ½ inch that I've added is for the zipper allowance. I'm going to mark this down to the hip line. Alright, we are marking ½ inch here for the zipper allowance, but when we want to sew this, we are going to use 1 inch to stitch this up because we have already added extra seam allowance to this dress initially. So I was thinking of making a different neckline for the back, but I later chose to stick to the original style. So I'm going to roll the chest line here. After rolling the chest line, I would add my seam allowance of ½ inch to this. So at this point, I was supposed to come downward by 2 inches from the chest line. I forgot, but I'm going to do that later in the video. So to the chest line here, I have 8.5 inches. By the time I come downward by 2 inches, that is going to give me 10.5 inches that I'll be taking out for the back piece. Remember, we took 7 inches out for the front. Then for the back, I'm going to take out 10.5 inches. Together, I have 17.5 inches. So this is what the front looks like and this is what the back looks like. So by the time you're done with yours, it should look this way. You can see the back, you can see the crotch area, everything is looking great. Now that we are done with the cutting of this, we are going to use each of these to cut the other fabric. We're just going to place the front parts onto the second fabric and cut them. Place them right side facing right side before you cut. After cutting the front, we are going to bring in the back and place this right side facing right side onto the second fabric and cut this way as well. The next one we want to do is to cut the pocket. So bring in your fabric this way. I have folded this into two. Place your palm on it and just draw a freehand shape of a pocket and cut along. At the top part, I'm going to mark ½ inch. I will also mark ½ inch for seam at the base. After measuring, I have about 7.25 inches, which is perfect for the pocket opening. That is where your hand will pass through. Now I'll place this onto the blue one and cut this way. Altogether, I have two of these for the blue and two for the red. So we are going to fix the zipper to the center back and close the crotch area. So I will be using ½ inch for the crotch area, and the zipper area, like I said, will be using up 1 inch. I will stitch my zipper from the top to this part and close up the crotch part. Then for the center front, I will also stitch the center front close from the top to this area. So at the center back here, I'm going to come downward by 2 inches from the chest line. Then I'm going to mark ½ inch for the seam allowance. Next, I will just connect this way to the armhole. So this is going to help the back parts relax well on your body. Alright, I'm done stitching up the center back and you can see what it looks like. I've fixed the zipper and that is the crotch area. This is the front part as well. I'm done stitching the front. Next is for us to fix the side pockets. So from the waistline here, you're going to come down by either 2 inches to 2.5 inches. Now I'm going to notch that area. This is where we are going to fix the pockets. Now bring in one piece of the pocket that matches up with the fabric and pin the pockets to the area you notched. So yeah, I'm just going to draw an ½ inch line where we'll be stitching on. I'll also bring in the pockets that matches this fabric here, and I will pin these to the parts that I have just notched. Then I'm going to stitch on this area. Now for the back, I'm just going to draw the waistline here. Then I will come downward by 2.5 inches and notch this part. Now I'm going to bring in the pockets and place them right side facing right side. Afterwards, I'll go ahead and secure this down with my pin. I'll do the same thing for this side. I'm going to place the pockets on the notch area and pin. I'll go to the sewing machine now and stitch on these parts. Alright, I'm done stitching this up. So this is what it looks like. This is for the back piece. I'm going to bring the front and lay this over the back, right side facing right side. After arranging this so that the pockets and all the sides are well aligned, I will just draw my seam allowance here. This is how we are going to sew. Just follow the direction of the chalk. You sew from the top and you go into the pocket this way. From there, you come out to the side of the jumpsuit again and you stitch down to the hemline. I'll repeat the same thing for the side of the jumpsuit. After stitching, this is what we have here. I'm done sewing this up. That's both sides of the jumpsuit. Next is for us to stitch this area. Bring both fabric together and arrange them this way. So we are going to stitch from the center there down to the hem and repeat the same thing for the other side. So here is it. We are done stitching this up. I've also gone ahead to hem the base of this jumpsuit. So this is what it looks like, guys. The next we want to do now is to pipe the neck area. So I'm going to use this piece of fabric to pipe the neck area. Alright, I ended up using the blue fabric since that was longer. And if you get to this part where you have this edge, you have to fold in your fabric there a little on both edges so that it will give you that neat finishing. If you don't fold that in, you're not going to get that sharp point that you want. Next is for us to cut and sew the strap to this jumpsuit. For the strap, I have the width here at 2 inches and I have the length at 18.5 inches. Remember, we cut out 7 inches from the front piece, that's the one we didn't add to the main dress, and for the back, we also have 10.5 inches. The remaining 1 inch here will serve as the seam. So I'm going to fold the fabric this way and stitch these areas close. Here is it, guys. I'm done stitching and ironing this strap. Now we are going to face the strap to the main jumpsuit. So open your dress this way and place the strap inward. Don't allow the raw edge of the strap get to the tip of the dress. So I'm going to pin them down this way and stitch on that area. After stitching, I will turn the strap up like so, and I'm going to run a stitch on the top area. So this will help you get a neat finishing so that there won't be any raw edge by the time you are done stitching. Here is it. I'm done stitching both of them. That's for the front area, and this is what the inside looks like. Now let's fix the strap to the back part. From the center back here, you are going to measure your half bust span measurement, that is your half nipple to nipple measurement. I will do the same thing for this side as well. After marking this, I'm going to fix the strap inward and secure with my pins. So I'm just going to stitch this up like I explained for the front part. And we are done, guys. I've gone ahead to give these jumpsuits a very good press, and you can see what it looks like. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Let me know if you're going to be trying this in your next project, and I'll see you in the next one.